welcome to John's Author Diary for the week ending April the 25th, 2021. I have had a busy week. I added 10,000 words to my novel Dawn of Assassins, and I have to say I had the best writing day I have had since probably before the start of the pandemic. That means I am at the 40% point in my outline, so it really feels like I'm making progress with this story, that I'm really getting into the meat of what it's all about. So I've been trying a method that was suggested by fantasy author Lindsay Baroka. She said that she expands her outline before she writes her scenes on the night before, and then she goes straight to writing the next day. Now, for a variety of reasons, this doesn't quite work for me, but what I've been doing is I've been getting them down, getting the outline expanded before I go and do the school run. So before I go, take my son to school, I come back, have a shower, and then I've been getting straight into the writing. Now, what this has meant is I have been really focused, really energized, really able to get into that writing zone, get into that flow state, which is where all the good stuff happens when you're a writer. So it was one of those things the other day where I did a scene, it was 2,700 words, time just seemed to disappear, I was just fully absorbed in it. I looked up and it's like, wow, I've been writing for an hour and a half and I didn't realise. So when that happens, that's magic. So I love that. Um, so in terms of just the talking about energy and things like that, I think there's, it's maybe not just that. I think that the fact that life is kind of drifting back to normal here in Morecambe, that really makes a difference. There's a lot of people around. There's been things that I've been doing like going out. I've been seeing people, just enjoying life a bit more. And even though there's not much difference in my day-to-day life in terms of the kind of process of writing, there's something to be said between the difference between routine and drudgery. So even though I'm doing the same thing I've always done, having the stuff around the writing is just really important, and I think I underestimated that. I think I underestimated just how going out, seeing people, uh, visiting pubs, hearing laughter, all that kind of stuff, how that has made a difference. So one thing I did last weekend was I went camping with my wife and son. So my friends are setting up a campsite. So it's not open yet to the public, but we were essentially guinea pigs, let's say. So they set up a place near Hutton Roof in Cumbria. The site is called Once Upon a Fell, which is a lovely name. I like that. And so what they've got is a cordoned off area for individual families, and in that you've got a bell tent, a barbecue, individual toilet, kitchen area. So I think the term is glamping. It's not just you going out there setting up a tent. It's all there for you. There's nice beds. There's wood burning stove and everything's provided, like the wood and things like that. And it's in a place, I think it's called the Howgills, and it's just stunning scenery, absolutely stunning. So it's on the edge of the Lake District, edge of the Yorkshire Dales. It's just perfect. The weather was amazing, and we really enjoyed it. Got a lot from it. Had a rest. I mean, I mentioned last week that my wife had set up her new website, so she launched that pretty much after I came off the Facebook Live last week, and that is cherryedits.com. So she's doing stuff for independent authors, and she's spent all week getting that website right, getting all the blog posts ready, things like that. So it was just great to kind of shut off, get away from the screens, get away from the phones, get away from the internet, and just be there with nature. So really enjoyed that. Also really enjoyed going to Kirby Lonsdale on the Sunday and having an ice cream. So that was good. Never had a death by chocolate ice cream before. Luckily it didn't kill me. So yeah, fantastic time for all of us. I had Monday off because of the weekend lying in a tent. I was tired, and so my wife and I went to our favourite hotel in Morecambe, which is called the Midland. We had a coffee, and it was outdoor only, but the weather was great, and we got to sit and just look at the sea and be surrounded again by people enjoying themselves, and that was great. Like, I can't stress how much that has been an energizing thing for me. It's so important. I've really missed it. So it's just been really good to get out there, get around people, just enjoy life again. And then again, went swimming on the Tuesday, and we've been to the pub as well. And it's just been nice. We've had walks along the prom, so it's just a real shift in routine. And I think it's just very important that that's happened. And I don't know. I might be a bit cynical in the sense that I am expecting for there to be another lockdown, or for my son's school to suddenly close and then have to go back into homeschool mode again. But I'm just taking advantage of this because, you know, this time is really good for me, really good for mental health, really good for my energy levels, and it's it's just I've got to make hay while the sun shines. That's a saying, isn't it? So in terms of reading this week, I read a book called The Wonder Book by Jeff VanderMeer. Now, this is a book about writing craft, about I suppose constructing narratives. And I have to say, it's one of the best writing craft books I've read. You know, I've read dozens, maybe more than 100 writing craft books, and even this was just filled with lots of gold, really great advice, and I really appreciated the author's approach, which was he gave lessons, and he then had another author come in playing devil's advocate. So essentially, it was showing that there's more than one way to do this, and it's about finding what works for the individual and honing that, and kind of moving into what makes you you as an author. And I think that's really important. I think that's something that I've been working on myself. I have mentioned in the past this idea of mastery, that I really want to get as good as I can at this writing thing. So even though I've been a full-time author since 2016, this is still an ongoing process of learning, of improving, of honing my craft, and I will continue to do that as long as I can. As well as that, I also finished the Rhyria Chronicles by Michael Sullivan. One day I'm going to be able to pronounce that easily. I love this series. I think that Hadrian and Royce are probably two of my favourite characters in fantasy, but I think it's as a pair. I don't think they'd necessarily work on their own, but the interplay between them, the good and the bad, the light and the dark, I think it works really well for me. And it's the similar kind of dynamic that I'm going for with my Dawn of Assassins series. So if you've read the prequel to that, which is called Birth of Assassins, then you'll see the kind of seeds of that friendship developing. So I just like the idea of having good friends who butt heads occasionally, but they're always there for each other, no matter how hard it gets. So I'm currently reading another book by Michael Sullivan called The Age of Myth. Now, this is set in the same universe as the Rhyria Chronicles, but it's set about 3,000 years before the events of the 10 novels in the other series. And so it feels like the Bronze Age, and there's a lot of cool stuff in it. I'm about 7 chapters in, but I'm not as enamoured with it as I am the Rhyria stuff. And I think that's just because Hadrian and Royce are such good characters. So I'm hoping that I can warm more to these characters in this book. So we'll see how that goes. So next week then, got to carry on with Dawn of Assassins. Still a working title, and I've been brainstorming some different names for the book. None of them are as catchy so far, but I'm sure it'll come. And finally, I just want to say I had some great comments on YouTube last week, so thank you to Mark Hughes, Alan Harvey, Denise Sherman, Duncan Simpson, Leighton Dean, Fiona Woods, and G. Mark Cole, who name I recognise from back when I used to do Patreon. And if you're watching this on YouTube, could you please do me a favour, hit that subscribe button, hit like, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff, leave a comment, that'd be great. And if you just want the audio of this, you don't have to watch the videos, you don't have to watch my ugly face, you can get this as an audio podcast. So simply go to wherever you listen to your podcast, type John Cronshaw's Author Diary, and it should come up there. So until next time, Cheerio.